G'day all, and today we have the North exit meeting, a young team that not only missed Harley Reid but also missed 4 could-be wins by less than a goal. Let's go ahead and jump into North's year. So, how are we all?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm good as well.
I'll just scrolling through Instagram right now and just Rafael Nadal retired
Oh,
Did he?
13 hours ago.
thought he was retired for a long time before that.
Nope.
Yeah. Wasn't he retired ages
So
ago?
he's been playing. He's been injured, but he's only playing.
Oh, okay.
Where? Just the major ones?
I've got no idea. He keeps pulling out of them, I'm pretty sure.
Right. That's probably why I haven't heard
In
of it.
life, everyone has a beginning and an end. I think it's an appropriate time to put an end to a career that has been long and much more successful than
Oh.
I could ever have imagined.
Cheeky little flex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read it.
Sounds like he's killing himself at the start, not gonna lie.
So this is good. I'd rather talk about that than North Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll just crack straight on into it. So North Melbourne this year, they had 3 wins and 20 losses. Pretty young side. Haven't improved much from what was 2023 before that. But let's
And
get
the
in.
year before that.
And the year before
that.
So let's get on into it. What are your guys' general thoughts?
They're just. I think that
Look
they
at no
are,
one jump on it. No one, no one wants to start it
I
off.
just don't even know.
There's a lot to unpack here, I'd say, in the terms that I have no idea where this group is.
They had a season of. They had a whole 4 seasons. They had winter, summer, spring, autumn. That's what they had. They just had periods of time where they were just different teams.
Is this Clarko's second year or third?
Third.
I'll look
Because
that up.
that wasn't that first year that he pulled out, and then last year coached a full year, and then this year.
I think last year I think he pulled out. So maybe last year was. his
Maybe
first
I think
year.
last year was his first year then.
Yeah, last year was his first year, it seems
Yeah.
like.
But he also pulled out half of that, so he's only
Yeah.
actually coached for about a year and a quarter. But people are very critical of him that he didn't come in and make a direct change. I said this team at the start of the year was going to be way, way better than they were.
I think we all figured they would.
Yeah, but came on spot on. This was a team where it was like you could lose by 200 one day and then pop out and almost beat Collingwood. And it just didn't make any sense. They had players that really, their spine is all right. In terms of you've got 4 players. You got Larky didn't hit very much this year, but you've got your Sheasel, you've got Fisher or McKercher that can play that half back now. The full back line is probably where they struggle, and then they've got LDU in the middle as well. But
On that backline thing, so 18 games this year where they conceded more than 100 points. The next best, I think, was West Coast, who had 13, and then Richmond, who had 10. So right there, bang, you go, well, their backline is
that's
a problem
right.
there. I mean, it is. Griffin Lowe came in the back end of the season. Then that's really their notable defender. Apart from that, I don't think Aiden Cole's very good. Who else is back there?
Well, bloody Aiden Core, Luke McDonald, obviously.
Luke McDonald, I don't think he's that
Aiden
great
Core was 8th in their BNF.
either. Was he?
Yep, and Luke McDonald was 9th. I think Luke McDonald's better than Aiden Core,
Yeah.
but Aiden Core is not 8th in anyone's best and fairest.
But is that just because he played a whole season? Because how many North players actually played the whole season?
Yeah, that's true. Well, Jackson Archer finished 10th.
They see, but I feel like that's deserved. I
Because
think
best and
he's
fairest,
going
you
to
can get
be-
votes for a club best and fairest for effort.
Yeah, I think he's going to be top 3 for the next 10 years. He'll be top 3 best small lockdown defenders.
Do
Is
they
your-
have best and fairest for club? No. Do they have? No, not best and fairest. I was gonna not best and fairest. Most improved.
I'm sure there was the most
They have
improved
some
award.
weird. They have some.
The-
random
every
awards.
club
They
has
got
different
best
weird
first
I know they got
award,
weird ones, but in under 10 tackers, you get most improved. And you're like, yeah, this is great.
Coaches award.
Yeah.
I reckon Jackson Archer would have won coaches award. Dead set.
well, yeah. under 16's most improved.
You
Yeah.
was that a? Did you feel you started the season shit?
No,
No,
last
it
year
was-
he
yeah.
kicked 16 behinds. The year before
Well,
that.
actually, I kicked 2 goals, 16, and a good season the year after. And they're like, "Oh, most improved for you."
Yeah, well, that
Just-
to
just
second and the best and
converted.
fairest, I guess.
What?
That to second and the best and fairest, I guess. You're coming for him. You're gonna prove all the haters wrong.
most improved. Yeah, I don't think that's a very. That is something I didn't want to win. Being someone who's played football for 10
Yeah.
plus years, I don't think you would be winning, but most improved at under 16s.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So my key takes on North Melbourne was, so last year they had 3 wins, 20 losses, so the exact same as what they had this year. However, so they didn't have as many wins, but I do think they got. I will get into it a bit later, but they got games into their kids, and they have sort of started to build a game plan of the midfield. So they won. They were the 3rd best team at winning centre clearance. So when you look at the numbers like that, that just shows you that they are building that game plan, and at such a young age of a team that they are. Like LDU's 26, you got Sheasel, Wardlaw, Phillips. So if they're already being the 3rd best team come centre clearance wise, then I can't imagine what they'll be able to do when they're all older and got games in them, because they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it's LDU coming in and playing a full healthy season was a very big part of that, I think. Him being involved in the club for a full season, you could say, really helped it. It goes to show, finished. I think he had the most votes in the Brownlow for the team,
Yeah.
as well as winning their BNF. So he was very much deserving of that. And it just goes to show that if they could get, another proper 2 midfielders, that could be really healthy for them. But yeah, moving into, I did want to say, with their backline as well, you just can't have Comben in the backline anymore for me. Like, you want to get Comben to go forward. You don't want Comben in the backline anymore. You need to get some real backmen.
Yeah.
Pick up a Frosty. Never know. Frosty might not have a game. You pick up a Frosty.
He's staying. He is staying.
Staying but not getting a game.
Yeah, he's staying. He's not getting a game. So next year we'll get a Frosty going. I don't know. In terms of potential, there's no potential in their backline at all. Luke McDonald's at the end of his career. Aiden Corr's basically at the end of his career. You've only got Jackson Archer, who shows his absolute heart out, but skill-wise isn't the best. So he can lock you down, or he can, really put his heart into the game. But whether or not he can lock you down, Charlie Comben has elite potential, but do you really want him to play backline? So that's another question that needs to be asked. And halfback, whether or not you want to make the decision between Fisher, whether or not he's damaging enough, or if he's just someone that can pick up 35 disposals, or McKercher, who, whether or not, who you think is more damaging, or if you want to put McKercher into the midfield. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit about Charlie Comben.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think, however, I was having to think. I think now that they've got Jack Darling, I think Comben will stay back.
Yeah,
That's just my take,
Yeah,
because they don't have a very good backman, so I think it's going to be like a put him back until we can really find someone.
that's true.
Which, I mean, it's disappointing because his best position is in the forward line.
It's how I say it is, like, if they could have picked up a Noah Bolter this year,
Yeah.
or something like, do you know what I mean? Like, at least with Richmond, we've got signs of a young backline.
I think they've got everything but the key backs.
Oh yeah,
They've got the forward, they've got their whole forward line, they've got their midfield. It's just their back line, which we will get into a bit later. But then going back to that part of me saying I think that they did improve and had a better season, the only thing I would say wasn't very good for them was the way that they ended the season. If you want to be a good team and bring some motivation into the season, into the next year, you got to finish the season off well, prove that, you're actually a pretty good team. Their last 2 weeks, they lose to the Bulldogs by 96 points, and then they lose to Hawthorn by 124 points. So I think right there, you've let Bulldogs score 140 points and Hawthorn score 170 points.
Jesus.
There's some...
Yeah, I was licking my lips on the calendar when I saw North towards the end. And
Hey,
then-
can I just say,
yes,
they
you
had
can.
8 more games than us where they lost by 100 points. Oh, no, they conceded 100 points.
Yeah.
It's all about the backline, baby.
I mean,
Your
North,
backline
North
is
seems
still
to
a premiership backline.
Yeah, it's true.
North 2 years in a row is number 17. Do they just not like that I'm on draft picked?
Yeah, it's almost like just you may as well.
Well,
like you're
last
not
year
showing
they gave
that-
it away.
Yeah,
by
and it's
winning.
like you're not showing that you're any better than the team that finished 18th. Because now, like, West Coast and North were pretty much neck and neck. Probably West Coast was probably worse in terms of prospects. And now with the addition of Harley Reid, like, jumps up 2 different spots on them.
Yeah,
So-
imagine Harley Reid is at North. I reckon he'd be so much more like happy at North, closer to Melbourne.
Hold on a second, though.
Holding-
I disagree.
Oh, do you?
Imagine you had Harley Reid and Jason Horn-Francis at North right now.
But then they wouldn't have McKercher. They wouldn't have Dersma.
Yeah, but Desmond didn't really impact this year.
They wouldn't have McKercher.
McKercher did impact, but like, if you had Harley Reid and Horn
Yeah.
Francis, that'd be pretty bloody good. But yeah, anyways, those are the what ifs where it's like Horn Francis is a future like all Australian, like he's going to be best and fairest winner, all Australian player, and they didn't really have an option really. Like he just wanted to leave as soon as you got there.
That's why I think if Harley Reid was there, I just don't think that it just didn't seem like their culture was good enough for someone like Jason Horn-Francis. That's why I wanted to leave. And I think that's why West Coast works quite well for Harley Reid, is that they know how to produce like young talents. I mean, you look at Judd, you look at who else they had.
Ben Cousins.
Ben Cousins. So they've had those big name players, so they can deal with it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the best clubs for him to have gone to.
Also, you think about the attention. Like we know that he loves to go out when he comes back to Melbourne. Imagine he
Yeah.
was always in Melbourne going out, Harley Reid, Harley Reid, Harley Reid. He'd get so sick of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that one.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think we've spoken about this briefly before. I think I'm kind of on the other side of the boat where I feel like North needed those wins. I think you guys were more on the point that like it helps them build by, having these games where they're almost winning, getting there, helps them build, helps them grow. But I'm more on the other side of those are games that you need to take advantage of and win. If you end this season 4 games better, like regardless of all these other games, people don't remember that. Like it builds morale. People remember that North finished, with 4 extra wins compared to what they did the year before that. Like it shows improvement, whether or not, behind closed doors, it shows improvement or not. It builds morale between the supporters, the coaches, the media gets off your back a little bit. Clarko has time to cook, maybe a momentum swing. It's what happened with Hawthorn a little bit. They started winning games and then they started looking scary, but ending the season 3-20 instead of what you had 4 wins to that 7-16, I think it is. Wait, no, is
No,
it?
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
7-16. It puts you 1 win under the Adelaide Crows, and Adelaide Crows aren't North Melbourne level. And we don't get me wrong, we know that North is not good enough to be a 7-win team,
But they could have been.
but they could have been, you know what I mean? And they didn't take advantage of what they had. And it shows that, I think North's list is probably, and potential is better than 1 win more than Richmond. Like the only game defining was the game between each other, and they won by 20 odd points. But, yeah, I thought I'd just touch on that. Overview, they need to be able to take advantage next year of games when they're in the, in the front seat. They need to drive the car home.
Well, I think
Park
a season for them next year with less than 5 wins is a horrible season.
Yeah,
And
that's
that-
where that's dead
that's
set. Like
their-
reset.
yeah, I think they're ready to go now. Like they're ready to.
I think those games are valuable. Of course, you're in the wins, but they're valuable. I think you see them as like make or break in some scenarios where you're like, they should have won this. But I think me and Keon, I'm not speaking on behalf of you, so say otherwise. If you're there, you may as well take that experience with you. Like, it's the next best thing to the 4 points.
Yeah.
I guess. Like getting
I-
smashed does nothing for you, but being there, competing, showing a bit of passion.
Or I could see it really helping behind closed doors. But in terms of like pressure, no one like it doesn't. No one cares. About
At the end of
that.
the year, no one's going to remember those really
Yeah,
four close games. It's more just, I think for the team, it does more internally than, not more than wins, but I think it does a lot more internally in terms of morale.
I think it's just a fire in the belly.
Yeah.
Win or not, if you lose by less than a goal, it's just them going, well, actually, we can do this. They were what? They were 40 points against Collingwood. So it's like, they showed when they're actually on. And it wasn't like Collingwood even playing horrible then. North Melbourne were just playing elite football. Like, so, yeah,
But do
I
you-
just think.
Do you think that all goes when they lose by 60 points the next week? Do you know what I mean? Like it's such a
No, I don't think
up
so.
and down curve.
I don't think so because I just think for them it's just the belief as a
Yeah.
young player that you can play with those good, like you can play with those elite good teams. Whether you win them or not is another story. I just think if they can compete with those teams, then it just starts to make them believe.
Yeah. I do want to touch on. This is a bit of a different point, and you know this. I feel like I'll be able to say this more so after next year, but I reckon they need a bit of a game style change. I reckon you just reset your game style. Hawthorn style, small forwards, even copy Hawthorn. You know, in some ways, just to move forward a lot quicker than what they are. I do think that what they've got now, they don't really need to do it anymore, but I more think so in the future. If what they're doing at the moment doesn't work for them next year, is like a reset in game style, just completely switch it.
What do you think their game style is right now?
Nothing.
So
Bomb
they're
it
not
forward.
They're not resetting their. They would be making a game
Actually,
style.
well, I mean copy the new meta. Like a Hawthorn. Start drafting these young running guns.
See, I think
The small
I
forward.
think they have their
And that
game
would work
style.
too, even better, because we all know Clarko created the forward pass
Yeah.
handball, and he's there.
Yeah, he's right there.
He's right there.
He knows what to do with it. He needs to steal a couple of playbooks from Hawthorn. You know, he's got a couple at home.
I think they have their game. I think their game style is their midfield. That like them winning the ball at the midfield. The reason that they struggle is because obviously they can't defend. So,
But that's what I mean.
if they can get two good defenders, I wouldn't be surprised if they can jump the ladder.
But then, like, if they can't get those defenders, like what? If they can't hit the draft with getting defenders, right, or the trade period, do you think they should switch it so that their midfielders play more defensive, or like they play a game style that helps their defense? You obviously look at like teams like Saints in the first half of the year, Freo first half of the year, that's slow, kick around the ball, play boring football where their defenders just control the ball? Or do they just go, we'll try and play it quick out the middle, and if it doesn't work, then they'll kick a goal on us because it's basically guaranteed.
Well, there's that 6 week patch where they were playing elite football was where, like you said, fast football is the best football. So that's what they were doing. So if they move the ball quickly, and if they have their full team playing, like you got McKercher off the half back, Sheezel in the midfield, LDU in the midfield. I love when LDU pushes forward and can get a goal.
It's good when Cheese can.
So
as well.
I think they're pretty. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that their game plan, in my opinion, needs to be hindered with too much. I just think their problem is obviously their back line.
So do they just sit, like say, because at the moment, right, we're not hearing much from defenders and North Melbourne. We could all agree with that. Like in terms of the trade period,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we've got Luke Parker that wants to go there as a midfielder. I'm guessing.
At the time of recording, we haven't heard much because it could completely switch up.
Oh yeah, but like I don't know if there's any defenders that are.
Tom Barras might not get to Hawthorn.
Yeah,
I want to go to North Melbourne.
He's not like
He's not getting Hawthorn.
he's not locked in at the moment. Like,
Maybe Hawthorn have realised that they don't really need him.
we're playing not tough.
We're gonna play Frosty instead.
No, from what I've heard so far, it seems that like
Blank.
we're not showing too much interest, so we don't have to give too much for them. It seems, but it's like we've shown them interest all year. So
The problem is, as soon as you nominate a club, I feel like you
have to go there.
You have to leave.
yeah, it's gonna be really awkward if he ends up at North. But like,
No,
it's-
I don't think. No, I just
He'll
think as soon as you nominate a club, I think you got to leave. I don't think it really matters.
oh,
where
he'll
you
leave.
go.
He'll go somewhere. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know
Yeah.
if we're necessarily there as much as we were
I don't
6
know,
weeks
do you
ago.
reckon they've had a bit of a reflection? Like we've got too many backmen here.
Probably not, because they have the money.
Yeah, I know.
And what
but,
else do they need? Unless they've
Yeah.
got like Day and Paul Newcomb, who are all like needing to sign contracts, then maybe
That is true.
yes. But
But yeah, like that's the only reason I could think to not be jumping up in your boots about signing Tom Barras. You know, like maybe a little bit of reflection in the management about the defense. But yeah, I'm just not too sure. I just hate their backline. You know, I love the run that McKercher gives and Fisher gives. I think McKercher has that role over Fisher when he plays. But I don't know. Their key backs, it's just like you give me two inside 50s and at least one of them's a goal and probably the second one as well, you know. So it's just whether or not they can score more points than what's getting scored on them. And just a quick point from me. He didn't win the best and fairest, but he didn't poll the most votes in the Brownlow, but I feel like Sheasel is the person holding this team together. Obviously, we didn't see the team without LDU and Zeri, so not too sure about that. But
well,
for me, when Sheasel did not play, is where I saw North Melbourne start to absolutely fall off the face of the earth those last 2 weeks.
So yeah, you say that Sheasel didn't play in those last 2 weeks. For anyone wondering, where they lost by 94 and 130 or whatever it was. So what Will says backs it up because
He's an
Sheasel
absolute
didn't play. So
absolute gun. It started at halfback at the very start of the year. Really became impactful when he was able to go midfield.
yeah,
When they were able to put someone else in that spot that he was just kind of clogging up, like he wasn't able to impact enough from a North perspective. Because now, when you're in the middle, you can win it out the middle into the forward line, whereas he used to have to win it out of the back line into the midfield, and then they would lose it in the midfield again. So, he's a really impactful player. Probably the glue. He's an absolute star. Gives hope for the young potential of the team. Future captain, you'd hope so. And yeah, just sort of add that on.
well to that, they in the last 2 weeks, centre clearance was 38 to 18 opposition's way. So they only had 18 centre clearances in a year where they were the third best team at centre clearance. So I wonder what would happen if you take those 2 weeks away. Maybe they do become one of the better, maybe the top centre clearance team.
Yeah.
So that does show the how good Sheasel and how damaging he is to the team. I think he's also a good kick, so that also comes down to a reason of being able to hit those forwards and move the ball through the ground.
So that probably takes us off into the BNF for the club. I know we touched on it before, but we'll get into that. So you guys had from our BNF predicting time or episode, whatever you want to call it. You both had Sheasel, Zeri, and LDU. So Sheasel 1, Zeri 2, LDU 3. And so the voting system for the BNF for their BNF is 4-1 with 5 coaches voting. So you can get max of 20 votes each game. The winner. Do I start from the bottom or go straight from the top? What do you reckon?
Go
Go from 10th.
Yeah.
So you got Jack's Jackson Archer.
Yep, which
With-
I agree. I think I'm happy that he was top 10.
Will you
How
agree?
many games did he play this year? Surely enough.
He got 115 votes. I'm trying to fill time while Keon looks at games.
Oh, no, he's played 23 games.
I don't think he played a lot of games this year.
He definitely played, like, back into the year he would have.
Yeah,
I reckon he
but
played about 15 games.
top 10 with 15 games is pretty good.
That's pretty impressive. And
Oh.
what? That's how much he bowling a game.
I want to see how many games Zach Fisher played as well.
Yeah, is someone looking for it?
Yeah, I'm getting it up. But
Okay. Then we'll move on to
15 rounds, 15 games.
15
That's
games.
right.
Play
top
15
10
games.
of the 15
Played
games is
15
pretty
games.
impressive.
Yeah.
Surprising, actually, in terms of, I don't know, like surely you could see a McKercher up there. How many games did he play? He played more than 15. Zach Fisher played around
So
about
you
the
could have a
same.
max of 20 votes and he averaged 8 votes a game.
That's what like this.
That's why I think
That means he
Jackson
was,
Archer
like-
is that good of a player.
He's one of those blokes that I feel like would poll every single game for
Yeah.
the effort he gives. You know what I mean? Like he might not always poll
and
the most.
in the very last game of the year, he played like 5 minutes as well. So
Probably no
so he played 14
Technically,
games.
and there's
did he get
probably
subbed
more
out?
games,
He probably
like,
would have got subbed
he got-
out in
yeah,
a
he
couple
got-
games. Like that's pretty impressive.
Anyway, we move on to number 9, Luke McDonald with 124 votes.
Yeah, just a leader in the back line, you know. Not the best player, but
he's their captain.
yeah, skipper, leader. Got to chuck him in there, I'd say.
Yeah, then you got number 8 with Aiden Core. With
Heavily disagree with this one.
dude.
Just don't understand how.
Yeah, I like this makes me question their future because if you've got Aiden Core in your top 10 of BNF, does that mean that they value him as one of the best in the club? You know, like, because everyone outside of the club knows that he's not a good defender at all.
Well, he did play every game this year.
He played every game, but
yeah. So he played 8 more games than Archer, and Archer
Yeah.
had 10 less votes.
that's true. So I'm not sure, but I would love to see him outside of that top 10, just so they don't see that and go, like, North fans don't want to see this top 10 and see Aiden Core in the top 8 because it just makes, you know, it would make you feel like you've got no potential, no future coming out. But, yeah, heavily disagree with this one.
Yeah, not a fan of him.
He got 125 votes, so that's one more than Luke McDonald. And then in 7th, we have Charlie Comben with 126 votes.
Yep, elite. Started VFL this year, came in, instant impact. So he's a great player.
Yeah, and then someone else can say number 6 because I'm going to butcher the last name and I'm having a
Have a
moment.
go.
No.
Have a go.
Charlie Zeraha? Zeraha?
Zerha.
Zerha, okay, that's not too far off.
Not awful. You chucked in an M there.
Yeah, the first one I was
somewhere.
like, how has the name got in here?
I don't think his name's
Yeah,
Charlie.
it's not Charlie though.
It's Charlie now.
Is it like
It's
Cameron?
Cam. It's
Yeah.
Cam.
Cameron Zerha, yeah.
It's Charlie now. They all call it's because they all call him Charlie on the field. It gets confusing out there. With 129 votes.
Do they?
No.
Oh, okay.
What do you think I've been down there? Just
I don't know. I thought you had some maybe like had the nickname on Wikipedia page and you just copied it in.
no, you got 129 votes. Then you got Tom Powell with 139 votes. This is kind of
Yeah,
the next
he
skip
had-
is 10 votes higher than like the pack. You had
He had an
6, 7,
interesting
and 8.
season to me. Back to Tom Powell. I think he had a very up and down season. One game he'll have 30, the next game he'll have 8, and he'll be nowhere, and you can't find him. And then he'll show up and kick 2 goals, and then he's nowhere. Like, I don't know the exact what his numbers looked like.
His role was weird all year.
So for him to have gotten that 139 votes, like,
I feel like he would have
He's-
polled
yeah.
well in his good rounds.
yeah,
Obviously, he was an absolute star and super coach when he played that midfield role. But it must have been when he wasn't. Started off the season really well with, 26 touches, 28 touches, 29 touches, and then bumps it down to 14 touches the next round after that. So, you're spot on. He had games where he had 12 disposals, games with 10 disposals, and then the week after that gets 25, So, we did see a lot of role changes, I think, from him. So, not entirely sure of that. Was able to get on the scoreboard, though, pretty often when he was having a good game. But I don't mind this. I feel like in his really good games, he would have been best on in like some of them.
I think he had a game where he had a goal in 34 or something. So
Yeah.
he did have some pretty good games.
Yeah, well, like round 2, 28 touches, 2 goals, and 5 tackles. So, star.
Next one we move on to is Paul Curtis with 140 votes.
So I don't know about this. Hit this one and Cameron Zerha. I don't think Paul Curtis is the 4th best player in this club. And whether or not, I think he had a way better season than he did last year. But as you can see in this, Nick Larkey's not in this top 10 best and fairest. And Paul Curtis is
We don't know
4th.
that yet.
Yes, we do.
We got 3 left.
I wonder who the 3 are. But, yeah, so Paul Curtis in 4th and Cameron Zerha in 6th when Larkey finished in the top 10 for the Coleman, finished 8th place. I don't know. Not a big fan of this one, just personally. I think, he also played the entire season. So if Jackson Archer can get in there with 15 votes, it makes me think that Aiden Core is valued more at the club than Nick Larkey.
I do disagree with Will here. I think Paul Curtis is a very good player. I think he had a very good season. So I think where he is, probably I would agree with how his season was. He's definitely not the 4th best player in the team, but he played every game this year. So I think he's top 6 best players in the team. I think he is one of the best small forwards in the league.
But it's more, I don't like that Nick Larkey's not in there, in the top 10.
Just
That's why I'm bringing up other
forwards.
forwards.
Season though.
Yeah, but Aiden Core's 8th. Yeah, I don't know. It's like you played the entire season, top 10 in the common. He would have had games where he kicked, 4-ish goals. So I don't know. I just feel like
But they would have been 4. They would have been 4. He's kicked 4 goals 20 meters out. That is a Larky special. I think he has 46 goals straight or 46 goals straight or something, 20 meters out. Well, the Larky special is just getting it in the goal square. So he's not actually doing much there. I don't think he had a very good season.
He definitely didn't have a good season compared to last year, but I don't know. I feel like he should be in their top 10 best and fairest, especially with the top 10 in the Coleman. If I finish top 10 in the Coleman for the AFL, feel like I'd be a bit stiff to be not in the 17th place best top 10, especially when someone that played 14 games and probably was sub in 2 or 3 of them finished 10th. So that's just how I think about it. Who was next up on the thing, Shanky?
Then you had Harry Sheasel at number 3 with 212 votes, sorry. So that's what? Almost 70 vote difference between 3rd and 4th in terms of votes.
Far out.
And I'll tell you from going through the other BNFs that this one was probably the most uneven, I'd like to describe. It felt like these 3 players at the top took a lot of the votes. Then you had Zeri at number 2 with 229 votes. So what? That's a 17 jump from Sheasel. And then you had LDU winning it, number 1 with 242 votes. Sorry about that one. So, did you guys get it right? Yeah. I think you did.
No, we didn't.
Oh, you had the opposite way, did you?
Literally the opposite way. We had Sheasel winning. I still feel like Sheasel got a bit stiffed here. I don't think he's 30 votes off LDU. It was a max of 20.
He also missed those last 2 games,
Yeah,
so
that's
he does
true.
become close. So he did miss a couple games, so that does somewhat make a bit of sense. I do think LDU though had some games where he would have got max 20 votes.
Oh, yeah.
How many games did he play? He played 21 games.
Sheasel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's that? If he played, someone talk.
I will be honest. I was looking at further down on what we're going to talk about next, but I'll fill in while these guys look at some statistics. So, yeah, kind of just not sure what to say. I think North Melbourne's
They averaged the same. Well, I don't know how many games LDU played actually, but if LDU played every game, they averaged the same amount of votes per game. Yeah. So
Yeah,
they,
okay,
if Sheasel played, they would have polled pretty much the exact same amount of votes.
Yeah. That makes
Which
sense.
then Sheasel probably would have taken votes from LDU if he played. So you could say that Sheasel could have won it.
Sheasel
So,
maybe should have won it, yeah. And then Zeri, just a late ruckman.
Yeah, I think.
didn't he get married the other day.
Yeah, he
Yeah, he
did.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations to him. I think, great season by Zeri. Love him so much. Snubbed of an All-Australian. If he can do that again next year, just elite. And it's his pressure. I think it's been quite a long time.
That chase down. Oh, that was so good.
That's why they won that game as well. Because that's when the boys go, right, okay.
We're in this.
Yeah.
We want to win this one.
But I can't think of a ruckman probably in my lifetime that is such a good pressure ruckman.
Oh, yeah.
Tackles.
Around the ground,
and,
yeah. His tackling's elite. He was leading the league in tackles at one point. You don't see that from a ruckman. Not at all.
I think Grundy was probably the closest, and he wasn't even that amazing at it.
But, yeah. So that rounds out the BNF, I'd say, from us. We'll go into some list changes then, hey?
Yeah, we'll go into some list changes. So coming into 2024, they gained the following players. So Kobe McKercher at pick 2, who's a defender who played 16 games.
Yeah.
Then you had Zane Dersma at pick 4, forward.
Do you want us to go through these picks?
What, rank them or say how they played out?
We could rate out the ones that, matter.
Yeah, okay, go. Number 1.
Do we want to talk about Colby's year? So Colby, he started out, he didn't really have that role that we came to find in the second half of the year, but came out after that, and he was, I think he started in the midfield, didn't he?
No, I don't think so. I think he was halfback the whole year when he was in the team.
And Fisher had his role at the start.
So he played 16 games, averaged 24 touches, and 415 meters gained.
So yeah, obviously that second half of the year is where we really started to see his talent shine. Obviously getting games where he's hitting 30 plus disposals. So he had he had a late second half of the year. I don't think I'd say middle to second half. I think his start was probably not bad at all, but
I think his first 2 games were pretty good, I think, from
Yeah.
recollection.
22 touches in both of them.
And then I think he dropped off a bit.
Yeah.
Did he get injured or he got dropped maybe?
He got injured. I remember that.
And then, that was his problem. He'd come back for 2 weeks and then he got injured a little bit again.
So
he's going to be a good player. Because the fact is now they can put Sheasel in the midfield, and that's internally what they wanted. So
the fact that you can just chuck him in that half back slot and a player can rack up 30 disposals every game, just like that. It's special.
Yeah.
Special player. Kaon's spot on. He had those first 2 games where he showed out pretty impressively and then moved on into round 3. Also was pretty good, 19 touches. And then it was round 5 where he got that injury, had only 1 disposal. Next week, played Hawthorn, only had 17 touches. And then after that, I'm not sure if that's when Fisher got injured or not, but this is when you saw 30 32, 30, 30, 37, 25, 22, 31, 37, 24, 19. So that was his year after he got injured from. Oh no, he didn't get injured that Geelong game. Oh, I think he did, but he played the next week. No, never mind. I was wrong. Sorry, he got injured in round 9. It looks like. So he played round 9, and then the round after that he came back in round 17. So, yeah, but
he had a foot injury.
yeah, so about like a 30 plus average from round 7 to round 24 after that. Did only dropped below 20 disposals once, and that was against Hawthorn in the final round of 2024, where they got absolutely flogged. So,
But pick 2, tick. They did well there.
very big tick.
Then you got Zane Dersma, who played the 13 games, kicked, I think I had a look, 9 goals. So could have been 7 or 9 goals. So yeah, no, he played. I think he had his moments where he was good, but there was also a few games where he was subbed out, so he only played about half the game. But yeah, I'm not sure what they do with him. Like, is he a forward? Can you put him in the midfield? Can you put him on a wing maybe? Like, what's his position? You reckon? Like, is it forward?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you might test him. He looked lost, if I'm honest. Or like not lost, but he wasn't able to impact at all. These goals were like not impactful goals. They weren't amazing goals. And it would be on 7 or 8 touches for an entire game. I think you try and take him in the midfield. I think he did play midfield in his juniors, like
as
Coates
a
League.
junior, I watched him play in the grand final, Vic Metro, Vic Country, and I think he kicked 4 goals and had about 20 touches, playing like hybrid, like midfield, like sort of Sheasel wise, midfield
Yeah.
rolling forward. That's
Or
where
like
he seemed to
a-
play his best forward,
like
best football.
Or maybe like an Alex Neil-Bullen,
Yeah.
kind of role. If he could play something like that, or
'Cause
Westcott.
he's a big body. That's the thing. So, like, he's not that small. Like
Yeah.
I reckon he's like 190. So
Yeah, no, he's definitely. I think he is. He's tall, but yeah, they've got a lot of questions. The good thing about him is that he does have that potential, where he can go anywhere you want him to go. So it just depends where they want to develop him properly. Maybe Darling helps that out as well. So it's not just
yeah, he's
Larky,
190.
Larky, and then Dersma after that. So I'd like to see him higher half forward, I'd say. Higher half forward, make him be able to impact maybe like Jeremy Cameron or something like that. But not the ideal season that we saw from him. I think we all had way bigger expectations from the pick 4.
Then we move on to Taylor Goad?
Goad.
Taylor Goad at
Yeah.
pick 20, ruck, 0 games.
Yeah, well, he's unfortunately
You got to compete with Sherry.
Zeri's just started his dynasty, so he's not. He'll be back up ruckman for the next, I'm guessing, 2 years, and then this seems like a Zeri replacement, Goldstein replacement. So like,
Well, he's 19 years old and he's 207 centimeters.
yeah, so he'll come in when if Zeri gets injured, but apart from that, he's not going to get a game.
I believe his stats in the VFL aren't amazing either. So
Gotcha.
he's 19 though, so he's got to build his body.
Then you have Will Dawson, pick 22, key defender with 3 games.
This sucked because I actually didn't mind Will Dawson in the games that he played. I thought he was all right. He did get injured, which is why he only played the 3 games. Probably would have played out the season from when he started.
He definitely would have.
Definitely would have played out the season. I thought he was pretty good. Copped an injury. Ruined my super coach. But, yeah, that was my thoughts.
Yeah, I think he was all right. We just haven't seen enough from him, so
Yeah.
it's just hard to really make a judgment really from that position. I mean, you can look at someone who plays in the midfield and play 3 games and go, yeah, he's all right. But as a key defender, it's tough to tell. So
Then we move on to Riley Hardman, pick 23. who's a defender, played 3 games. You guys got anything to touch on that one? No, we're kind of getting to the final. Finbar Marley, rookie elevation. How'd I butcher that?
No, no, no.
I'm guessing it's just Maley.
Yeah, where'd I get the R from?
I don't know.
They call him that on the field, I'm telling you.
yeah. Pip.
0 games. Tyler Seller. Couldn't tell you what that is. What's SSP?
Supplementary pick.
Yeah.
He was like just
He
picked
was a
up
VFL player, I'm pretty sure.
during
Gotcha.
like when they train. He trained with them and then they picked him up.
And then we get to their trade period. So they got Zach Picker. Zach
Picker.
Picker. That's what they call him on the field.
Zach Picker.
You guys just don't know the inside name. Zach Fisher. They got Zach Fisher and pick 17. Carlton, I believe, got pick 21 and pick 25.
That pick 17 they got also corresponded to Will Dawson's pick.
Gotcha. All right. Zach Fisher played 18 games. He brought some stuff to the season, I imagine. You guys feel that he was a good pickup?
Yeah, like I'd say so.
He just went into a spot where you rack the ball up.
Yeah.
And if you look at the 3 key players who played there, Sheasel, McKercher, Fisher, I think Fisher was a fair bit off the mark. He's actually not very good by foot. It was just racking up 30 touches, but his touches, in my opinion, weren't damaging. They were sideways little chip kicks. He had times where he would get a 1-2. He takes the kick out. It's like he racked it up, but I just don't think he was that good.
Then, Will, have you got anything to say? Sorry.
Oh, no, it's about spot on. I thought, there were times where he was really good, and then there was times where you saw him just like Sam Flanders, like kicks to the side, kicks to the left, kick out, just straight play on. But, yeah, I don't know. Overall, pretty good. You'd take that for a 21 and 25, I'd say.
Yeah, and then, Will, you can talk about this one because they came from Richmond.
So this sucks because in the preseason, Biggie was supposed to be... He was supposed to be in that side. He was supposed to be playing. He was supposed to be there. And now he's been delisted, and I'm not happy about it. I love Biggie. We should have played him more anyways. And it sucks because he would be playing at Richmond right now if he didn't make that move. But
Well, he might go. He might.
Yeah, he'd be smart.
They can pick him up.
Yeah.
Because he got delisted.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm
they
saying.
could.
So
pick
delisted
him up.
from North Melbourne after 3 games. Just didn't preseason showed pretty good signs and then just did not show after that. So, yeah.
Then we go into Toby Pink, who was a delisted free agent, who played 15 games. Thoughts, feelings, opinions?
This is crazy. He went from Sydney,
Yeah.
didn't play a single game at Sydney, and then came over here. Came over to North Melbourne, played 15 games this year, swung forward in that second half of the season, kicked a cheeky 1.
Well, he played good football before coming to North Melbourne. I think he had 2 years in the Sandful. So yeah, I think he was playing pretty good football.
Yeah. So he came along, started as a key defender this year, and then just wasn't really hitting. But still, they thought he deserved to be in the side, so moved him to forward. And honestly, a bit of a radical ear presence, I reckon. Brought the ball to ground, got up high, a lot higher than I thought Toby Pink could
Yeah,
get.
he was just. And then he had his weird goal in the square. And
But yeah.
he's an odd one.
Very much so.
Then we move on to Dylan Stevenson.
Stevens.
Yeah. No,
Where'd you get the sun? There's no sun.
they call him that on the field, I'm telling you. They got the nicknames going. You got pick 21 and pick 25 they got as well. And they got him from Sydney. And they got a future first round, or whatever that is. And 40.
First round draft pick.
I understand what first round draft pick is. Look how it's spelt on the sheet.
Well, you understood it.
I know. I'm just saying. God. And pick 44. He played 16 games for North.
Yeah, no, not good. He's got to be one of the biggest, horrible players. He's not that good for a pick number 5 from Sydney's academy. He's not that good. He's a horrible winger. He barely gets touches on the ball. I don't rate him at all. They lost quite a bit here. I mean, Sydney lost a bit when they drafted him, but
Yeah. First round pick. I did have a look at when he got picked. I was very surprised. Definitely not an Errol Goulden. And Errol Goulden was what was he? Pick 44 or something like that. But Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. I don't watch enough. I didn't watch closely enough of North Melbourne's games to take a full look at him. But you notice he didn't make much impact at all.
Yeah. And then we'll go into the outs. So they delisted a fair few people, and you guys can rattle through these because I'll butcher every second
Yeah.
name.
So Aiden Bonner, shit player anyway. Ben
Delisted.
Cunnington,
Retired.
yep, respect, like him. Jake Edwards, have
Delisted.
no idea actually who he is. Could be related to the Edwards at West Coast. Could even be him.
Well,
I have
there's
no
two
idea.
West Coast Edwards.
Could
as
be
well.
him. Oh, I got
One
no
of them
idea.
could be him.
Could be related. No idea. Todd Goldstein obviously went to Essendon.
Free agent.
Aaron Hall retired. Did like
The
him.
meters gained. King.
Yeah. Daniel Howe
Retired.
retired, but didn't really lose much there. Jake Mahoney delisted.
The legend.
Ben Mackay.
Free agent.
They didn't lose anything here. Like they lost Ben Mackay. Obviously, he's a good backman. They probably might be regretting that, but they technically didn't lose anything for it because the AFL gave him pick 5 or something. Flynn Perez.
Delisted.
They got Zane Desma, I'm guessing, for that pick.
Who is
Yeah,
Phoenix
probably.
Spicer?
I thought he was all right.
Yeah.
No, that's a
I
cracking
liked it.
name.
Well,
Wowza.
The thing was, he was a Morris Rioli like.
I
and
liked him.
North Melbourne dropped.
He was delisted, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that was last year. He got delisted last year.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. I really liked him,
Yeah.
and then they delisted him. It was boring. Yeah.
Also, I like the name.
yeah.
Skipped over Flynn Perez. Flynn Perez as well.
Delisted.
Kane Turner. Didn't mind him.
Delisted.
Lockie Young.
Delisted.
Yeah, he wasn't
I
very
thought Kane
good.
Turner was all right as well.
Yeah. Then obviously Jack Siebel.
Retired.
So lost a bit of
He's at Richmond now.
veteran.
Funny
yeah.
how he comes to Richmond after he retires, and then we become an 18th place team.
It's in,
Just saying. He came over to help
it's
coach
in his,
out.
it's in his blood to be at the bottom of the ladder.
He's like, okay, who's a good Melbourne team that I can coach for? Oh, Richmond, they won recently.
So we touched on Fisher and McKercher, sorry.
That's a big list. It's a
Yeah,
big
that-
list of
yeah.
changes.
But we also saw they also brought in quite a lot. I reckon they would have been in the top 3 bringing in the most players.
Is any on this list you're saying they missed out on? Or like,
Is it
they
that they
could've-
got rid of?
yeah, they got rid of, they
Um,
could have used this year?
I mean, they could have used Ben Mackay, but obviously that was apart. There was no one that they delisted where I go, well, they were like,
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
would-
I
it
think
would
they
be
could have
different if
used
they got
Jake
picked
Edwards.
up.
I think Jacob
yeah.
Edwards, he was a
Mahoney
pretty
as
good
well.
player.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know what he's doing at this stage. But yeah, it was more the top players either that retired or free agents.
Yeah.
That left.
We'll now go ahead and get into some key injuries that happened that affect them this season.
Well, we kind of already went through the injuries.
yeah, we kind of
so-
have. The main injuries were Fisher and McKercher. They
And then
affect,
Sheasel at the back end of the year.
yeah, she's on the back end of the year. Now we kind of get into the point of the exit meeting when we start talking about their future. So the current picks when we're recording this, they have pick 2, pick 25, pick 44, and pick 62. So what do you reckon they're going to do with those picks? Just starting off with.
Well, their pick 2's kind of the only notable one because that pick 25 will probably end up being about pick 32. So could be even later.
Who are they drafting for? You guys? Will you said
Wow, so-
defenders?
I think it's going to depend on who we draft at pick 1.
Yeah.
So, from what I've heard through like media sources, is that if we don't pick Sam Laylor at pick 1,
Yeah.
they'll pick up Sam Laylor.
Okay.
But if we pick up Sam Laylor, they'll pick up someone else, and then we'll be able to get Finn O'Sullivan.
Okay.
But
I think they will pick Levi Ashcroft first, and then they'll obviously Brisbane will take Levi, and then they will then take whoever they take.
Richmond.
But I'll just shoot. No, North Melbourne, because I don't think Richmond is
No,
going to
Richmond
take
aren't.
Levi. So I think North Melbourne will take him just for the picks.
Fair enough. And then we go. So coming into 2025, they have from trade. Sorry, Jack Darling from West Coast. So he's coming in. We discussed this in the trade period episode, but quick summary of what you guys think this is going to do for the club.
Yeah, just a 2-year sort of stint, I think. And he'll be
Get the
all
boys
right.
some experience.
Help
Yeah.
out Zane Dersma.
Yeah, could do that. Possibly they might get Parker.
Luke Parker as well, yeah.
But there was a deal that went through yesterday, and then Sydney said no to it. So they're still arguing about that one. So interesting to see what other moves they can make.
What's he got? 1 year left on his contract.
I'm not sure exactly what he's got. All I know is that Sydney aren't happy with what North Melbourne offered them, and they probably offered them pick 25 or something. So
Yeah.
Then we go into who they're going to miss next year. So they have Hamish Free is delisted. Hugh Greenwood has retired. Biggie has been delisted. They picked him up. Okay, gotcha. Tyler Seller has been delisted. Liam Shield has retired. Sorry. Curtis Taylor has delisted, and Taron Thomas has
gone to jail.
gone to jail.
You sure you know this story?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Well, not the platform to discuss.
Yeah. If you want to learn about
Basically,
Taron Thomas,
I'll tell you,
just
this
do a
is
Google
basically how it
search.
goes. Someone made a rumor that St Kilda was trying to
Mason Wood was
bring
not
him,
happy.
and the St Kilda president and CEO had to come out and say, no, we are not going for Taron Thomas because we do not believe in the things that he's done. So,
Yeah.
Curtis Taylor's an interesting one. I thought they seemed to play him quite a bit, and then he I think he barely. I reckon he only had 2 or 3 games this year, but
Yeah.
before that, he was getting a few games, sort of as a winger, high half forward. So interesting one there. I didn't mind him. Didn't think he was that horrible. So
He wasn't. Yeah. He was one of those ones where it's like he played pretty
Yeah.
often, but he just wasn't great. Like, he's one of those filler guys, kind of thing. Yeah, it makes sense. I guess this was the year where it's like, show us what you've got. This is your last year to show us what you've got for another contract, and I guess he couldn't do that. But yeah.
just before we finish up our last little bit, so I just wanted to go through their young core, as we were talking about earlier, and sort of who their players are that are going to take them to that next level of finals and hopefully one day a grand final. So from games-wise, you've got, and if anyone disagrees with me that I don't think they'll be in their best sort of 26 players, you got Dersma, who's 19 years old, played 13 games. McKercher, 19, 16 games. Archer, 21 with 23 games. Wardlaw, 20 games with 20 years old with 26 games. Comben is 23 with 28 games. Phillips is 22 with 43 games. Sheasel's 19 with 44. Zeri's 25 with 56. Paul Curtis is 21 with 59 games. Powell is 22 with 68 games. Griffin Logue is 26 with 81 games. Bailey Scott is 24 with 101 games. LDU 25 with 108 games. And Zerha 26 with 121 games. So I think all those players are going to be there pretty much when they go to, unless they get traded. They're all elite players. I think, it just shows that this is why I wanted to bring it up, was that this year they got all these players, I would assume, playing more than 75% of the season if they could without injury. And I mean, you've got someone like Wardlaw. We haven't seen too much of him, but what we have seen has been some pretty good highlights. Phillips there is probably the only one. Probably want to see a little bit more from him at times, and Powell as well. But yeah, this is kind of my notes of who I think is going to be their sort of core.
You think Phillips will be in their core?
I think he'll be around there. I think he's still at that age where he can still develop himself into a good player.
Yeah, I like it. I definitely agree. I didn't realise how young Charlie Comben was. Only 23 years old. And Tristan Zeri at 25 is also very surprising. Yeah, if we could see these players if we could see Zane Dersma next year have a breakout season, because McKercher's basically established. Archer has had a good year in the books. Obviously, a top 10 best and fairest finish. If you could see a Griffin Logue come out and be that key defender you want him to be, like that proper lockdown, if you could see Dersma have a breakout year and then Phillips find some actual midfield form, this could look really, really, really good for them.
I think that about wraps us up for North Melbourne. Just in terms of next year, where do you see them, and probably one sentence on what they can do to get there?
I see them at 16th on the ladder.
And how do they get there?
By winning
winning.
more games.
No. As in, like, what do they do? Like, if you were to wrap it up, like,
Fix up your defense.
fix up your defense.
Yeah, that's my fix up your defense, and I need Jack Darling to get some of the heat off Nikolaki.
Okay. And Keon, how would you predict they go?
6+ wins is what they need
Yep.
without anyone sort of bring them up in the media and start to question players and the coaching and whatever. So yeah, 6+ wins. And just, sort of now, this is where next year you want all those players that I sort of named, you want them to play 20+ games each, probably find a couple, 2 or 3 more of those players somewhere, whether that's the draft or developing them from the list already. I think this is going to be a big next step for them next year.
Gotcha. That wraps us up for the North Melbourne exit meeting. Hope you enjoy. Send us through any comments or feelings where you think we got it right or where you think we got it wrong. Good talking to you boys. And see you guys in the next one.
Catch ya.
So yeah.